Hello, good people. I hope that you can hear me because I'm not hearing anything on my end and I'm not sure why. Please, if you are on live, can you just type a one in the chat to let me know you hear me? Because for some strange reason, I'm not able to tell right now. And usually I can even hear the intro music and I didn't this time. And that seems kind of weird. Just a little weird. Okay. Well, welcome to the Literacy Reset. Woo! We got at day 22, you guys. Happy Sunday, fun day. Oh, good blessings, good blessings. Now, let me get into today's person. I'm trying to figure out again if you guys can hear me. I hope that you can. Most people think about their household. Some think about their community. Very few think about ecosystems. But architects must. Welcome back to the Literacy Reset 30 Days of Raising Architects. Today, we reset global responsibility. Weird, right? Especially at this time. Now, mind you, I had my stuff planned out before all of this stuff happened, but we're going to talk about global responsibility. Because literacy doesn't just prepare children to navigate society, it prepares them to protect it. Now, I did hear the music there, so we must be good to go. If you do not know who this beautiful woman is, darling, let me go ahead and explain to you Wangari Maathai. She grew up in rural Kenya, surrounded by forest and fertile land. As she got older, she noticed something disturbing, right? She noticed that the trees were disappearing. Soil erosion had increased, water resources dried up, and food insecurity rose. Most people saw trees. She saw systems collapsing. Sorry, guys, I just want to turn this off so we don't get distracted. In 1977, she founded the Green Belt Movement. Her solution, plant trees. But it wasn't just about trees, it was about environmental restoration, women's empowerment, civic engagement, and economic resilience. Over 50 million trees were planted across Kenya. In 2004, she became the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because environment sustainability is peace work. Environment sustainability matters. When resources collapse, conflict rises. She understood the global ripple effect of local action. That is global responsibility. With today's principle, I'm going to say global responsibility begins with system literacy. Global responsibility begins with systems literacy. Maathai didn't just react emotionally to deforestation. She analyzed cause and effect. Tree loss went to soil erosion. Soil erosion to crop failure. Crop failure to poverty. Poverty to instability. That is systems mapping. Literacy builds the capacity to trace consequences, identify root causes, connect environmental, economic, and political patterns, interpret data and research, which are also very key things when it comes to literacy, right? Both in the ELA side, the science side, the math side. and even social studies. When children read scientific texts deeply, they learn ecosystems. When they analyze global history, they see resource driven conflict. When they write persuasive arguments, they learn civic engagement. Global responsibility requires understanding complexity without becoming overwhelmed. That's trained thinking. For me, that's solution based thinking. Here it is, we see a problem, we try to fix it, or we figure out what we can do to um, make the situation lighter or easier, right? We are driven by solutions. Not everyone is. We can be honest here. Not everyone is driven by solution. However, literacy requires that we stay focused and pursue whatever the content and context is, even within its nuances, to find out how it can be solved. Mathai began with small, consistent actions, tree by tree, village by village, but she thought globally. She understood something. Local stewardship has planetary consequences. This is where literacy becomes power. A child who can read environmental data, analyze global trends, interpret research, and write policy proposals, that's not just educated, they are equipped. They are equipped. And as I said in other episodes, it's so important as architects that we are making sure our child or our children are equipped. We can't guarantee the future, but we can guarantee they are equipped. We have no idea what circle of life of calling that they'll be drawn to, right? They could be the firefighter, they could be the next engineer or innovator, they could be the next teacher, they could be the next global leader. All we can do as architects are make sure that we prepare them for whatever their greatest is. Teach them the skills of survival, but teach them the know-how of what happens when you reach these peaks. Who do you still need to be? What is it that you should need to know? How do you make sure you have discernment and the ability to reason, to find facts, to put things in order? These are skills that literacy supports day in and day out. Global thinkers don't panic at problems. They study them, then they design responses. I'm going to say that again. Global thinkers don't panic at problems. They study them and then they design the responses. How are we preparing our babies to design responses? Let's get into that. Let's talk about what you can actually implement in your homeschool. And because I don't like to leave anybody out, what? Your literacy centers, your classroom, or anyone that is working with children and the youth, right? First, how do we build global responsibility at home? We teach them systems mapping. After studying an issue, ask them this: what caused it? What are the ripple effects? Who is impacted by this? And who and what could interrupt the cycle? Train, cause, and effect thinking. We do that every day, even down to the small ones. Don't touch the stove, you're going to get burned. That's the effect. Well, what caused it? You touching the stove, it's hot. Integrate environmental literacy. Read about ecosystems. discuss sustainability, analyze real world data, make science interdisciplinary. I say that from the beginning. I've been saying that almost through every episode. How are we connecting real life to literacy? How are we making sure the different content areas show up in different things? Because why? I am a promoter for project-based learning. I am a promoter of making things connect. I am a promoter of letting things be hands-on so that you can see your child in real time and in real life figure things out. Your child's into animals, take them to the zoo. Let them study different ecosystems within that particular wildlife, rainforest, desert, ocean, whatever it is that's appealing to them. But once they start to study the ecosystems, then they understand how people live or how those animals live and what it takes for their survival to live through it, what functions as the system. What impacts what affects what, how does this impact this, why does it impact that? It allows them to go deeper in the information and knowledge. And when they start doing that, then those are real life skills that can be applied at a job, their business, whatever it is that they tend to go do in their future. Again, we don't know the future. Our job is to make sure we architect and equip them for it. Civic writing projects. Have your child write a proposal for improving a local issue. Draft a community improvement plan. Design a sustainability project. Writing creates ownership. I will say this, if you live in, your community, wherever that is, unless you're out in the forest somewhere by yourself, I mean, hey, to each his own. Let them attend community meetings. Let them see community initiatives. Let them be a part of the process, even if that's sitting there making a flyer for it, right? All communities have a cause or something going on that they feel everyone should pay attention to. What is that in your community? Go to a meeting, take them to a meeting, let them see it, take it to a community event. And even if you can't go to a meeting, but you go to something that's happening in your community, that opens the discussion in itself. Hey, what do you think it took to plan this? How do you think they invited all these people here? What did they do to get people here? How did they bring awareness to this? What is it that we see here? What's going on at all these different table stations, or if they have people performing, or if they have speakers and different things? Ask the questions to the layers, because once you do that, you allow them to take it in, to investigate, to research, to ask questions, to formalize and say, oh, you know what? So and so, they do this kind of work. And because they're at this event, that means they're helping promote that event. They have information to share with people that's coming to the event. They're going to make the world a better place because of this event, whatever it is. But it allows and opens things up for discussion. And that's my point. So even before we get to the writing and the organizing part of it, let's have a discussion about it. Let's look at the layers that make this thing work. Next, global perspective practice. Compare how different countries address the same issue. Right now, current event wise, we have a lot going on. Someone with my background has been definitely ears in, intrigued, trying to figure this out. How did we get here? If global peace has always been part of the initiative for the last 40, 50, 60 years. This is a topic worth talking about, based on age appropriateness with the child, of course. But they need to know. And this is why part of in the summer camp, I told you guys the other day about the financial literacy class that we do. We also have a road trip class. On the website right now, you can see the course for Tanzania. It's the only one that I put up, right? In the Tanzania course, not only are we learning about the people, their culture, their traditions, we're learning about the agriculture in that place. We're learning about what animals they have there. So we're talking about ecosystems and habitats. We're also looking at the food that is made there. We're talking about what are these people's customs and traditions that impact them. And what does that do for us? One, that allows your child to know about another country that they have no clue about. Two, it intrigues their mindset to want to travel and to learn more. Three, it lets them identify what different customs and cultures to say, hey, we do something similar like that. Oh, I never even knew that people did something like that. All of the things, it crosses layers like no other. Every class that I ever had taught or built into my summer program was based on the things that I saw and understood from the global space. Having children learn about other places can be game changing. Reading allows us to travel without ever having to step a foot on a plane. Now, do I prefer a plane? Yes. Has my son been on a plane? Yes. And now that we have the second baby, we're just waiting a little while and hopefully we'll be able to, travel again. And then we have to look at what's going on in the world and say, well, where would we be traveling? Okay. But they need the global awareness. One thing's for sure, two things for certain. Everyone is trying to live. Everyone is trying to make it. Everybody wants peace and a way to just enjoy themselves. That awareness alone links us all together. And so our children have to be taught global awareness without the fear. Architects don't shrink from global problems. They prepare to solve them. I did not get into education because, I said, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher. No, I got into education because it was one of the global initiatives that needed addressing. There were countries where young girls were not able to get education, let alone a quality one, right? Then two, understanding it from the global perspective, poverty has stricken so many places, so many people. How can we eradicate that? By making sure our children are equipped so that they can be leaders in their community, providers for their families, providers for themselves. They can become self-sufficient, have self-mastery. These are things that are caught within the education space. These are things that if we teach them from young, they can only evolve and grow to their best. This also reduces the awkwardness and the strangeness across cultures. We have to teach our children that they can love who they are and stand firm in who they are without withering because they're in other pockets of the world. And we can appreciate other people from other pockets of the world because we appreciate and we love and we know ourselves. And now we get to see exactly how you love and how you know yourself. The greatest thing that ever came for me out of my time of studying at the UN was creating Freedom for Smiles. I think I said this in the other episode, right? How did I get here? Studying at the UN, trying to figure out Millennium Development Goals 15. How does that impact society as a whole? What is something that society can benefit from? What is something that you can build that's global? And by God, not only did I create this foundation, but I've been able to teach children that represent all different places of the world. There's another video here on the channel with one of my staff members from the past interviewing me, asking me those questions. How did you get here? Because literacy was a global issue. That's how I got into education. And I took it to heart. And then when I got into the school system and I saw things, good, bad, and indifferent, one thing is for sure is that I always felt, one, children don't ask to be here, and two, take your work in this space very seriously. If doctors have to take their work seriously, as they should, no, that's another topic for another day, then you leaving your child with me has to be up there as well. It's one of the highest forms of interaction, respect, dedication, and transparency I could ever offer. You're letting your child, your baby, your gem, someone you gave life to, in my care. I have to hold that up with the highest regard. But that's me, and that's my frame of thinking. That's not everyone, right? And so that's why children stayed with me for years. That's why our program, when in person, felt like family. That's why the courses that were taught were to make sure that these babies were prepared not only for the world, but the real world, and to know that they were never bound to whatever city that we may have been physically sitting in. My children were ready when COVID happened, because why? They were already used to getting online. They already knew how to get on Zoom because we had students from 2 different locations, plus outside students that didn't even attend our school. During the pandemic, we were able to bless children from other states because I was already online. And so here we are. And now I've shifted gears because my own personal life has changed, and because the direction that schools were heading in was not something that fit with my morale anymore. I don't stick around too long for things that don't make sense. That's just me. And so in that, let me bring this back full circle. Global problems become local ones when no one stands up. And most global issues are local issues. And that's real. And so you are not raising children for small lives. You are raising children who will inherit complex systems, environmental, economic, political, technological at this point. They must be able to think beyond their backyard, understand interconnected systems, design long-term solutions and plans. Wangari Maathai planted trees, but she was cultivating responsibility. And so, if it makes sense and I'm your vibe, then I invite you to the Arfaret's Homeschool Studio, where it's a literacy-centered strategy lab where intentional parents become education architects. I will also mention here too that inside the description, not only is there a link to join our school, but there also is the link to join our webinar, where I teach the framework of my 5 steps that you can apply to any curriculum or learning program that you are thinking of for your child while you're on this homeschool journey, because these are the elements that matter. If your homeschool focuses only on isolated subjects, you may be missing the larger connection. And so, inside the Offer as Homeschool Clarity Roadmap, we teach families how to integrate interdisciplinary literacy, teach systems level thinking, connect academics to global impact, and raise solution oriented thinkers. Because architects don't just build structures, they steward ecosystems. This is the literacy reset. And today, we reset global responsibility. I'll see you guys in episode 23. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekends. And best wishes to you and yours. Many parents ask me, what exactly do you do at Reading for Smiles? Let me show you. Our mission at Reading for Smiles is very simple. We help families raise confident readers, writers, and thinkers. We also produce a YouTube series called Literacy Reset, where we explore powerful literacy lessons through the lives of great thinkers, innovators, and leaders. We have a community called the Offer as Homeschool Studio, where homeschool parents come together to learn, plan, and support each other. For parents inside the community, you guys can learn through 2 courses: the Architect Parent, which helps you design homeschool with intention, and the Confident Reader and Writer course, which is a framework for building strong literacy at home. We also offer a homeschool roadmap intensive, where we help parents plan their homeschool year with clarity. And for the babies, of course, we create literacy learning packs, have on demand courses, and I also have ebooks for parents to help them strengthen their homeschools by developing reading, writing, and thinking skills and programs and projects in the house. If you're homeschooling and you want support raising strong readers and thinkers, then definitely come join our community on School. We can't wait to see you and have you there with us.